How you doing, everybody? This is Jamey Jordan here, and I've got another guest with me for our third episode of Between Two Bead Rollers, Adam Deuling. So, Adam, tell us all about yourself and entertain us.
Well, thanks for having me. Just got over here, hour ago. I'm Adam Deuling. I am from Muskegon, Michigan. I'm 31 years old in a month. I run my business, Dooling Design. It's a prototyping, sheet metal fabrication business for 2D, 3D CAD. I got into the metalwork stuff actually in shop class in high school. I wanted to be a shop teacher more than anything. I had a great shop teacher.
So you still had shop class?
Yeah, Mr. Houston was actually, I've got a kind of a tribute YouTube video I made a few years back to my high school shop teacher. It's called Bring Back Shop Class. He was just a cool, hard, old school guy from like Detroit. And we were doing aluminum casting, brass casting, all the old lathe work, mill work, all this stuff. We had wood shop too, but we had a good metal shop.
So you weren't just making birdhouses?
No. I mean, we were like project, freshman year was, turn an aluminum hammer handle and then a brass head and thread it. And, you could make whatever profiles you want. Or there was like a screwdriver you could make.
Nice.
And a few different projects, and it was really cool. And then every year you got to get into the next level, and like senior year, kids are like, wood shop there, we're making poker tables. So,
poker tables.
My buddy Jeff made a huge poker table like senior year. And,
what'd you make?
Dude, I casted everything. My freshman year, I casted a Fender guitar pick. I made a guitar pick that was like this big.
Nice.
And then I hand cut on a scroll saw, cut the Fender logo out. We just printed off of Google the image and I cut it on a little scroll saw.
Nice.
And then you got to bevel all the edges to a degree so you can pack that in a sand mold. And so I made that, and then from there, Mr. Houston, my shop teacher, he let me kind of take off. Like sophomore year, I'm running around in there and I'm coming in and I pretty much ran every machine and I'm comfortable, and he was just like kind of let me be a free spirit like junior, senior year.
I guess he saw the same thing most people see in you.
Yep. Like senior year, I remember we had a MITES is the Michigan Industrial Technology like competition. It's like the Olympics for shop class. There's actually quite a few schools still doing it. I graduated in 2009, so I know I look like I'm 12, but
No, he's actually a little bit old.
I'm getting old. But we were doing that, and we would go up to MITES in like senior year. I had like a bunch of different projects done. I made a cast hammer out of aluminum, and it had a screw-on head. It was all cast, and it won the like big divisional pattern making award and stuff. Wow. But I had like 9 shop classes senior year between independent studies, and I had already taken shop A, but I was like taking shop A as a senior. So because I planned on being a shop teacher, that was my goal, and I loved it. I had the most fun. Like, it made high school enjoyable for me, and like it, distracted me from life's troubles and things,
Sure.
I just clung to it. And then I got into college, just a local community college. I was doing plumbing for actually the shop I work out of now, Lasco Plumbing. Over there, I'm working out of his personal shop. I was working there from 16 through college at the local community college, and I got a degree in CAD because I kind of got in there for a year, and I talked to people in the shop class stuff, and they're like, man, they're closing this one down, and Fremont, where I went, they built a new high school, and Rick Tank was there, the new shop teacher, and he's a killer woods guy, but they didn't really let them bring woods and metals over to the new school, just kind of woods, and then some of the industrial stuff, the CNC, which is great. I think that's the way of the future. Yeah. But those shop classes started dying, and I kind of realized I needed a different path. So I took I took CAD. That was something that interested me. My dad's a manufacturing engineer.
Yeah, that's
you
right.
know, so. You know, I've always been taking stuff apart and good at that. So I liked CAD, I got into that, and then I got a drafting position at a local company, and, you know, fairly quickly worked up through the ranks, and then I was in an engineering position and just doing wild sheet metal designs. Like, people see the stuff I make, and I don't think they realize where I learned it from, you know, is, you know, we were making deli cases and you know, multi-$100,000 cases to put food on that you would blow you away at the amount of thought that goes into building these custom structures. So I really got fine-tuned there and just learned the ins and outs of all of that. And then
how long were you there?
6 years, I want to say.
Okay, so you were drafting in design.
Yeah, like 22. I think I started there when I was 22, and I quit on my 28th birthday. So yeah, it's my self-employment's been my birthday gift the last few years. Yeah. For the rest of my life, hopefully. So,
yeah, there you go.
But yeah, I was there, and you know, I learned the stuff, and then me and my buddies had always been into the off-road world, you know. So
you have the sand dunes near you, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, we got Silver Lake sand dunes in Michigan. So
right.
a lot of people don't know that. I tell them I'm from Michigan. We go to the beach, and they're like, "Ha, beach!" Like they think there's like a little tiny lake, and I'm like, "No, Lake Michigan, you would mistake it for an ocean if you walked up to it. Sure. Like you can't see anything across. You know, sure. It's huge." So yeah, we do the dunes and stuff. So from, you know, I bought my Blazer. I got an old K5 Blazer, 85 Blazer.
Yeah.
I bought stock in when I was 18, and we started building that up. You know, me and my buddies. You know, met a few buddies there, and then.
So that's what really led you into the car world.
Yeah.
From the machining,
yeah,
and the drafting, and designing, and now into the car world.
Yep. Kind of thing. Yeah, and that got me into that world. And I mean, that's where I met all my best friends. I mean, the guys that I spend almost any time with outside of what I do is pretty much, these people that I met from off-road is the primary. So yeah. It's, it's a good way to meet like-minded people and all that. But, I was doing stuff at work, which kind of related to, the sheet metal design, kind of relates to off-road, fab design, link mounts and shock mounts.
And you have a distributor that you work with too, right?
Yeah. My buddies up in Maine, they run 4x-Store. So that's where I sell a lot of my parts. Yep. So 4xstore.com, and we you can, if it's on a lot of these other websites, it's probably on there too. We can get.
Yeah, well, that's cool that you're making stuff for them, and so that just kind of shows your story of you starting in a class,
yep.
Learning in a shop
yep.
class, and then
and then
that you didn't want to be a book nerd. Nothing against that.
Yeah.
But you wanted to work with your hands. You wanted to be a craftsman.
Yeah,
at a young age.
I noticed that in the engineering job, a lot of guys, there was a break between, everybody knows, the guys on the floor, all the engineers, the guys in the engineer, all those guys on the floor, there's always this battle. Yeah. But I've seen both sides of it, so I can kind of see both sides in all those situations. So it's really helped me in my own business, know how to do that.
Working the different angles. And
yeah,
stuff.
but you can understand, when I'm designing a part, I know how it can be formed on the machine, sure. On a press brake. A lot of people don't understand how press brake works. I've seen an engineer try to put a flange on a press brake on a curved surface.
Yeah.
And that doesn't
right?
work. It works on the computer.
Yeah.
So going out and working with those machines is what did that for me. I bought like a 48-inch box and pan brake. Right after I got my Miller bead roller, I got that little box and pan, and I was still working at my job, and that's when I realized how the press brakes function. Because you bend your first pan and you go up there and you crunch the bends that you already had on the sides, and you go, oh, Oh, like in a straight break, you know, if you had a straight break
Yep.
and you go to bend a pan and you hit that third bend and crunch,
Yeah.
and you know, you just spent an hour cutting that shape out, and you go.
That's why I like the millet break. They had the box pan, the ultimate they had.
Yeah.
You have the lower teeth that come
Yeah,
out on
the lower
inside.
teeth.
Yeah,
Big
so
deal.
being able to have that come out and swing back under.
Yeah,
I like that a lot.
that's a big deal.
Yep, I've got one of those
Yep.
in the house.
So, yeah, as soon as I, you know, I'm tinkering out there, working with my hands, learning this, and it helps me become a better engineer. And then I had started my business. You know, I bought that one of, you know, just like Steve said, Woodward Fab 18-inch hand crank bead roller.
Yep.
And I stripped it down and angle iron and dimple die plates and
I remember
made that
you
big wheel.
I remember you put the big
wheel for
on.
it. It was had like 40 dimples around it. Actually, when I put it in the dimple die, it rolled around the arm of the iron worker. I didn't even have to put that bend around it.
Really?
It already did that from all the dimples because it was only like that wide.
Yeah, really?
And then I made that wheel. And shoot, I got that because I kind of finished my off-road fab on my Blazer, and I was looking for what to do, and I asked some people on some off-road forums, you know, how do you make this? And somebody was like, yeah, that's a step die, you know, that's a bead roller.
Yep.
And I couldn't understand how like this triangle was like pressed down with a machine that looked like this, you know, it's like mind-boggling. So I bought one, you know, $140, Woodward Fab at the time. 2014 or something, Woodward Fab bead roller, got it in, did that, and I don't know, I always like to tell everybody like that $140 bead roller, you know, I made it, you know, I screwed up a lot of panels.
Yep.
But once we started, you know, you started talking to me and helping me and stuff, and then like start selling them, and then okay, now I worked my way up, and then I got invited to the Michigan Buggy Builders show. I got put in a booth, and they had me bring my roller, and I was doing that.
So what was some of the first stuff you started rolling on that machine?
Oh, it was a lot of, I was doing a lot of like US 30, you know, 131 road signs or Route 66 signs, or like skulls and
I always like to hear what
faces.
people get into when they first start, you know.
A lot of geometrical shapes. Like some of the first big ones I sold, like the big ones I did were like, you know, I was just sitting there with a compass and some drawing.
You did a lot of stuff for side-by-sides, and that's how you were tying it all in at the time. I remember back in the day, you were doing roofs and things like that.
Yeah, yep. I got into that once I got more into like the bigger roller, but that original stuff, I went to that show. I went there with intentions I made like 40 panels. That I still have most of them, actually.
It happens.
I made like 40 panels to bring to the show, and then you know, $135 for a little skull face or something. People were, you know, whatever. It was a different market there.
Yeah,
I should have rolled Volkswagen stuff, and it would have sold like crazy.
You might have just been able to just make a panel that worked in somebody's side by side and whatever sold, you know. And that's the neat thing about using this bead roller. I mean, it kind of crosses over whether you want to go hard or the other way, like you started with.
Yep. I had gone there with intentions of selling out, and then that show was halfway to Nick Mishler's house. Remember Nick Mishler, Mission Made Fab?
Yep.
I bought his bead roller.
Oh, really? I didn't know you got Nick's.
Yeah. So he bought his. I bought it from him.
Roller, Nick.
Yeah. He bought it all from you. So I was all intentions to go. I was like, sweet, we're like halfway there. We just go to the show, leave with a big wad of money, put the bead roller in the car. Well, I couldn't go get it because when I left, I had to pack all those boxes back in my car. There was no room for a bead roller. So I went home all crushed, and then I just said screw it and went like next weekend, went and took the money out of my savings, you know, ran over by Detroit or wherever it was on the east side of Michigan, and sold that. He, you know, gave me a tour. We've been, you know, kind of online buddies since. I've seen him up at the dunes a few times. So
that's great.
But yeah, and then I guess from there I bought the big roller. I mean, just, you know, chatting back with you, you know, texting late at night, what are you working on, this or that, and then coming to see you at PRI and stuff. We bead rolled in 19, and then this is the third time we've hung out in like 2.5 months.
I know.
SEMA and
like
PRI, and now.
Yep, we're back again. Well, what we're gonna do here now is just kind of give it a little bit. Now you kind of got us going a little bit with this. And, take a second. We're gonna play around with the bead roller. I've got just a tip and die on top, which I call it tip and die. It's just a small number 1 hem or number 2 hem, and then just a radius roll on the bottom, so round it over step roll. And I'm gonna doodle a little bit over here, and you're gonna get yourself right over there. You brought yourself something from the house.
Yeah.
Kind of move into this real quick.
Yeah, I don't know if we can see that over there.
This is Adam's personality, so hopefully you understand. It's the
So,
best part of family.
I kind of thought, you know, this panel kind of represents me, because in this world, it's mostly hot rod guys, you know. You know, Steve and you know, you guys were just talking about that in the last episode. And I'm like, everybody's hot rod guys in this, and I was like, I'm this like nerd with the, you know, the CAD computer and the plasma table and the press brakes, and we're bending stuff. And
no, you're great. This is him. This is him, and we're about to. Yeah, let's get in it. Let's have a little fun. All right, bud. So, tell me a little bit more about your average day. Like, what's going on with Adam Deuling every day?
I tell people when they ask me what I do, I just tell them I like to make things. I make a lot of different stuff. I have, you know, it could be an art project today like this. It could be an autonomous car prototype part that's getting, you know, plasma cut and bent and welded and anodized, and then tomorrow it's a bead rolled sign for somebody's barn or business. You know, I offer, or some days I don't even leave my house. Some days it's CAD work. I offer 2D and 3D CAD services and prototyping. So
that's really what you do, a lot of prototyping.
Yeah, prototyping I think is the one where I'm normally most happy. I've always been one of those guys, you know, that you know, I enjoy ripping stuff apart or figuring out, you know, how it works. And,
I think we all are a little bit.
Yeah. So
so you do it with your 3D printer?
Yeah, I do a lot of 3D printing. You know, before you send something to like a machine shop, or you know, I'll 3D print, you know, maybe a custom die set to put in my press brake to make a funky bend. And then you know, it's cheap to do it that way, and then you can send it out to you know, a CNC shop, and they'll actually machine it.
Okay, so if somebody was looking to market and they were saying, hey, I need to get a prototype being made, they need something made. That would be something that you'd be totally down to do for people, right?
Now I specialize in the sheet metal side, you know. So if somebody was asking me to design them, you know, milled parts, I'd probably you know, say go elsewhere. But if it's sheet metal type of stuff with maybe a little bit of that thrown in, you know, I've got a little, you know, mini mill and stuff, so I can do some of that.
So you do a lot of press brake work though, right?
Oh yeah, a lot of press brake work. Yep. I work with Tommy Industrial. They've been a great partner of mine. We've worked for about a year now together. I've had one of their 33-ton machines, and just kind of have ran it through all the different ups and downs and learned everything. And I'm actually starting. It just kind of released my first YouTube for video introduction for like my new series.
And you're gonna do a series on press brakes, right?
Yeah, we're gonna do like a how-to on the press brakes, because
for Tommy's, right?
Yeah, for Tommy Industrial, and you know, you'll be able to hop on and get a, you know, kind of a learning segment, like what what you've done with like the art of bead rolling videos and things like that. You know, how to make a you know, a box, a pan, or how to set up your press brake, how to do all these things that people don't realize, because and it'll help not only for the fabricators, it'll help for all sides of it, because I run into a lot of people sending me models of sheet metal design parts, and they have 3D modeled them incorrectly. Like, they don't know how to set up the bend radiuses and such. You know, they're just kind of, you know, they might be winging it, And I'm like, hey, you know, you should be making the bend radius match material thickness. You know, you got a piece 1/4 inch, you can't have a 0.30 bend radius, you know, you're gonna split it. Okay. So there's things like that where I think I can help the whole
other people
industry.
trying to get that information.
Yeah.
That's great that you're working with Tom.
Yeah, they've been a really great company. I got a hold of me last year, and we did a bunch of videos and stuff, and now we're trying to maybe take it to the next level, and maybe they've been allowing me to kind of give suggestions on hey, you know, we should make a package like this, or what do you think about this? And we kind of talk back and forth, and it's been really cool.
It sounds really cool. Sounds really neat. I'm glad to hear that you got that going.
I also with Fast Cut CNC, I have one of his plasma tables, one of the Icon Elite plasma tables.
Yeah, he made that one for you, right? Did he make you a special one just for
Yep. It's actually, I want to say it's probably one of the only fast 5x5 fast cuts probably out there.
Wow. Look at you.
Don't quote me. Hey, buddy.
There's somebody with a 5x5. Yeah, I've got one too, buddy. It's not that cool.
But yeah, so my press brake's 5 foot, and my plasma table is as well. And so that really gives me a really nice little prototyping capability. Yeah. And then, you know, and that's, you know, I can't handle, you know, I want to be me, you know, I want to be Adam. I don't know that I'm ready for Adam and 20 employees to make all the things. So sure. I really am good at, you know, getting the project designed, maybe make you the first few prototypes, maybe make you a few batches, and then depending on how the company wants it, I'll supply them the files for a fee, all set up in folders, ready to go to a laser shop, and they can have them cut. Or if they want me to keep making them, I'll keep making them, you know. So I kind of give people options, you know. And then it gives me options when they come and go, hey Adam, we need 1,000 of these. And I'm like, man, I'm sorry, I'm so busy right now, or something. Like, you know, maybe that would bury me, where now it's, you know, here's your files, send it to this guy down the road, or I'll make a recommendation, send them to, you know, I've got tons of buddies in this industry too, in the plasma and the press brake world. Yeah. That I can kind of forward these guys to.
That's wonderful. You're able to work with so many people and, you know, join them all together.
Yeah. I think.
You see a vision of where you want to go and what you want to do right now. You know.
Yeah.
That's pretty neat.
I think collaboration is a big part.
Truly.
That people don't pay attention to enough. You know, people are so bound to keep secrets and whatnot, and I think people, when they work together and help, it creates that mutual respect between companies.
Of course.
And you know, one of my professors used to say, you know, there's a lot of money in them hills. You know, there's money for all of us in them. You know, there's plenty out there. So I'd rather not sit here fighting with people. Let's all go up together. You know. So.
Yeah. I mean, that's why we started I Love B-Roll.
Yeah.
With that same principle right there. And believe it or not, Adam was one of the original guys that helped me start. And it all started off a text message group we all had together. Yep. But I'm going to take a second now and show you this one. This is one I'm going to roll. So if you want this one, do your thing. You're going to comment. Jeff will help you out and figure out how we're going to do it. But this one will be available this year, or this episode, I say. And we'll get this one done. So that's what I'm going to work on. I'm going to throw my stencil rolls on here, and I'll probably just do a little bit of work around the nose and the face and see what will come up. And I don't know what he's got going over
here. Yeah, I got my little nerd face over here. You know, I've always wanted to. It's the iPhone nerd emoji. It's what I always post all my social media stuff on, with that little emoji. So I thought it fit me pretty good. You know, I'm kind of that computer geek. You know, it was great at PRI. Like I'll never in my life forget this. I'm holding one of Jamey's panels and I'm like, hold it, and I'm like, man, how'd you get this edge so smooth? And he goes, Adam, it's called a hand file. And I was like, in that second, I was like, my brain is now so configured to, you know, computer to plasma to bending to welding to like all the processes that I literally, I asked you something like that, and I was like, wow, like it made me sit back and think like, wow, I am a nerd. Like,
Yeah, see, it's that 10 year, age difference between us.
Yeah.
It's that little bit of gap right there.
Yeah.
But, what I started doing, obviously building seats and working with my hands. And, I got a business called Handmade, you know what I mean? So it's kind of always been my thing. But, it's just, I'll tell you, that's one of the, I think we had it out with Sean on one of his panels. For me, I don't know, it's funny for me because a lot of people talk about the tables and how to not scratch them up. Well, a good way not to scratch up your table is to just kind of file the edges on your panel. So for me, I always use the back of my pinky. And if I can rub the back of my pinky on there, then I'm pretty good, no matter what it is. And you never really know that you can just cut yourself until you got to kind of flex your finger or wash your hands off the back of there. But it's always those paper cuts from the small little edges that get you every time. But that's just me. I file my edges. But tell us a little bit more about your teaching. I think I heard something about that. I've seen what you had going on there.
So back in early 2020, I went right before the toilet paper ran out. It was the week the toilet paper ran out, but right before everything closed.
What a world we live in, right?
Yeah, I was lucky enough to go to Eaton Rapids Intermediate, which is like a middle school, I believe, public, and I went in and I did a bead rolling and manufacturing type lecture.
Really?
So I made I made a little a video making French curves. You got your own French curves. So I drew up a little French curve and I just kind of did a Google, a screenshot of my computer and did the video going on, grabbing an image, bringing it into CAD, tracing it, and then importing it, DXF file. And then the local laser shop, they let me come over and film them cutting it. I thought a laser would look really cool and professional to these little kids.
How old were they?
Fifth graders, I believe. So
that's wonderful.
What's that? 12.
Yeah.
Kids. It's been a while since I've been in fifth grade. So it went through the whole process of making these French curves. From CAD to cutting to, and then I brought over to my buddy Short Iron Fab's shop and he powder coated them. So we got it all on film, made this nice little 5-minute video. And when I got to the school, and there was 60 of the kids in the cafeteria watching, I passed one out to each kid. They each got one before the video. Nice. So while I'm watching these kids holding these French curves up, and I got pictures of it on my business page. I get goosebumps right now. It gives me goosebumps every time I think about it. These kids are holding the French curve up, and you can see it on the screen.
Nice.
The big screen in the cafeteria, and they're holding these up, looking through it. Not just one, multiple kids. And you could see the click happening, the light bulbs turning on. And then one little girl yells, "I thought these were plastic," when I passed them out, because they're all powder coated red. They look beautiful. They look like, they might be a composite or something. Mm-hmm. I thought these were plastic, but these kids just watched it get made from nothing. And then
what a beautiful story.
So
that's still on Facebook though, right? Or
yeah,
YouTube?
I've got pictures of it on I think it's pinned to the top of my business Facebook page. Okay. The pictures from that day. We did that, and then also I brought my bead roller and I plasma cut their school mascot out.
I remember when you had the bead roller out, but I didn't know all that other stuff.
Nobody. I didn't really share that online. I kind of wanted to test the waters of seeing how kids took it. I was a little leery of if they would be for it, or if they might just think it's boring, and they really enjoyed it. But I thought that was cool that I could incorporate the manufacturing side in, and then they all got to come up and do a bead roll. One kid would do the leg. It was a dog of some sort. Was the logo, and one kid would come do a paw, and then one kid would do an ear, and I was kind of helping them roll, and they all loved it, and so that kind of sparked something in me, and I kind of saw like, hey, you know, that dream of, you know, being a shop teacher, like,
It's still there.
hey, like, maybe I can't do it at a school. But now that I'm thinking, you know, maybe I won't be a teacher teaching shop class. Maybe I do it on my own and have a much bigger classroom.
Yeah.
You know, like an infinitely
Large
classroom.
people to touch.
You know, via online. And I plan to start a physical school in Muskegon. Once, I need to get things, you know, done right for that with my own business.
Yeah.
You know, because I gotta pay the bills. So
We all do.
I'm working on that now. I'm working on getting things lined up. So hopefully I can spend not all of my time keeping the bills paid and spend more of it trying to dedicate it to that, because, you know, I started a school up there and I would like to make it, you know, so kids could come and not have to pay, get it funded, you know, through some
Yeah, that'd be
organizations.
really neat. I'd love to see this come together.
Yeah.
I think it'd be great.
So
Being a tech school guy myself, going to Wyotech and
if you just look my name up in Google, WZM 13 News did a news article, and they came out to the shop, and I did made a sign fundraiser, and I made all these signs, and they said the harder you work, the luckier you get. And I kind of did like a production bead rolling, plasma cut, press brake sign run.
Yeah.
And I did 86 of these, and I raised like over 10 grand.
Nice.
That I now have in a savings account to stuff towards this school I want to start. So
That's beautiful.
at first we were thinking like trailer, go to schools, and then I did it a couple times, and then now I'm thinking maybe more of a permanent
Location.
a permanent thing. I think it would be better because, you know, I pick up all that stuff and load it and travel, and maybe a mixture of both. You know, I don't need to limit myself, but
I think the world's the limit for you. I think you can do put your mind to it. I think you kind of tell us all about it. I love it. I love the idea that you're working with the students. I like seeing it.
yeah.
You know?
I mean it was
Going back to Wyotech for me is one of the greatest feelings in the world.
Oh, yeah.
You know, being able to be back there with those students, it's an unbelievable feeling. You know, it really is. But
yeah. I honestly I left there and I was like, this is the coolest thing I've ever done. I mean,
it's a humbling experience for sure.
yeah. I mean,
It really is.
I've had a pretty fun adventure here the last like 6 months. You know, going to all these shows and doing these things, but like, I still think at the end of the day, like, that going to that school that first day, like I said, I had goosebumps a minute ago. Like,
Nice.
like
I know the feeling.
it still was like, it's like the coolest thing. And I want to do that more because, you know, as an independent study and stuff in high school when I was in shop class, that was what I was doing. But now I think you know, it's I'm almost glad that the shop class jobs aren't out there. Right, you know, for my case,
Yeah,
and hopefully I can do something about it to maybe bring it back.
Bring it back, yeah.
But I think if it would have happened, you know, maybe I would have just, you know, been there and not found these different avenues. And
yeah.
So life's pretty wild. I'm having fun though. I think I have a pretty fun life, to be honest.
So how you looking over there with your panel?
Good. I think I got everything kind of outlined there. Nice little initial roll. I'm gonna open these up a little.
Yeah, I'm fixing to change these rolls out here in a second and open them up a little bit and jump back on this. So I just want to check on you there.
Yeah.
All right, so I see you're over there rolling a little smiley face.
Yeah.
But if anybody follows you on social media, they know that you're not usually rolling a smiley face.
No, I'm normally doing some pretty big wild stuff.
And you have a 36-inch machine.
I do. Yep.
And the big question, inquiring minds want to know, how do you keep from warping it?
Multiple passes. You know, if you just send it home and ram a 1/4-inch deep bead roll, you know, on there, and it's gonna go like this. You know, take your time. passes, different die separations.
So you use the adjustable collar a lot.
Oh yeah.
Kinda
Yeah,
like
this thing's
just being able to adjust those dies out and thinking about it as that pinch point, you know,
Mhm.
and how far apart you want it to be. And
Yep.
that's actually, I mean, just that adjustable collar allows you to just be able to keep that same roll on there kind of a lot, and you can just kind of tinker around with
Yep.
some. I know some.
Yeah, I mean, you can see how flat your panel is, and you've got a lot of shapes in there and stuff. That,
Yeah,
you know,
hopefully we will.
Yep, and it's if you just separated it a 1/4 inch and ran it home, that thing would be twisted, you know.
It'd be twisted because it's a lot of stretch at one time.
Oh
you know?
yeah.
And I always say, you know, just use the machine, let it stretch the metal itself.
Yep.
You know, and by just taking your time and just kind of slowly rolling into it each time.
I think you know I'm probably got 1.5 turns on here maybe.
Yeah.
Since you know once you put pressure on it, maybe 1.5, like maybe less. People think you're putting down a lot, you know.
But you know you're gonna go
4
back over
turns.
that roll, right? So I mean, you
What's
know,
that?
You know you're gonna go back over those lines.
Yeah,
So-
I'm gonna come back and we're gonna change it, and you know later on I might hit one spot. You know, you might hit one of those feathers.
I've done it. Yeah.
You know,
All right.
really deep. You know, in the middle, and then fade it out. So you still use that depth, but you don't want to just ram it home right off the get-go.
Yeah, I mean, my friend Crow Man always says, just trust the process, you know?
Yeah.
For me, it's always just been about the process of just taking your time, opening the gap, and just let the machine do the work, you know? It'll do it. It'll do what you need it to do.
Yeah.
But you usually don't have to go get another tool to do it. But that's just my opinion. But what other panels are you making? What other things are you using with the bead roller? Tell the people.
I've been incorporating a lot of plasma cutting designs in with mine.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah.
I want to say I don't know if there's a lot, you know, many other guys on the page and stuff doing that. It is a lot of work, and if you make a screw up, you're screwing up a lot of material. You know, to do the layouts and you know. Only cut these spots, you know. I don't want to cut where I want to bead roll, so you got to go in and make sure you select what lines I want to bead roll, because I'm drawing all of it out.
Well, it's good that you can do that, though, isn't it?
Yeah. So like, I just did a big semi truck for a local company.
Yeah.
And that came out great, and I cut the semi truck out based off of a picture of their truck. That's their truck. So they sent me the picture of their truck. You know, I have a graphic design person, you know, and I said here, you know, and they drew it up for me, you know, from a physical, you know, real life picture to a, you know, something I could bring into the computer, and then I tool path it and go from there.
Yeah. And that's how you're bead rolling a lot.
Yeah, that's how I've done a lot. Yeah, I did that Holden logo not too long ago. That was 4 foot. That was I thought I was gonna reach the limits of the roller there. What you got to do is, the way I think about it is, any perimeter roll like this, you know, you could do this perimeter roll on a 800-foot square. It doesn't matter because you're only going in this far. It matters what's in the middle. So what you got to do is measure from the furthest point of like a circle. You know, if you got a circle, I'll say I got to go from the furthest point to here of that circle. And if I can do 36 there, I can spin the whole panel. So when I'm laying out those things, you know, like the Holden logo one, you know, it was the Pontiac logo with the little Holden thing. I had to spin that. I had to spin that little guy. So, you know, I measured here to here, and it was under that depth. And you know, I had about a 1/2 inch when that passed through.
Because it was a really big panel.
It was big, yeah. It was 4 foot tall.
Yeah, there you go. So I mean, it's a 4 foot panel
with a really intricate little center logo like this big in it. So I'm spinning this big thing, but yeah. So I mean, technically, you can reach to the center of a 6 foot corner to corner piece. So.
And so that's the neat thing about the adjustable shafts. I mean, you can change them out if you got them on top and bottom, so you can rotate your dies. So if you do get yourself out.
Oh yeah. Yeah, you can flip it.
And
then you're good to go.
Here's a little thing. Whenever you get to the spot where you're making a turn, and if you ever get to this spot and you go, it won't go through. A tip is usually you can just open it up, put it to the other side of it, and readjust your line, and get just about right where you were at the beginning, and just keep going. And you can really kind of manipulate it around and turn sometimes when it hits. Just because it hits just a little bit doesn't mean you can't get it to the other side and pick it back up, you know? I mean, we're talking small amount there. And the double adjustable shaft, I mean, it allows you to be able to just offset them whichever direction, so you keep whatever flow you're wanting to go with that roll away from the inside, you know, and kind of keep it to the outside. And if you get in that bind, you can, you know, change it back over. And that, I'll enjoy that part of it.
There's no rules.
No. There's none. Besides, file your edges.
Yeah, file your edges. What? I'm gonna make a CNC controlled hand file to file all my panels when they come off the plasma table.
I can see this going.
Just for Jamey.
I can see it going.
I'll never live that one down.
No, that would just be using your brain, and that's what we love, you know. Just being able to use that.
You start doing stuff long enough, you kind of like become programmed to thinking a certain way, you know, and that's a lot of stuff with this, you know. There's no rules to this. It's all feeling, you know. Like Steve said, you know, I love that you said, you know, like there's so many different ways we could all end up at the same. You know, he was talking about putting that indent up in that Camaro body. You know, in my brain, I was like, I've done that, but I took the table off and just flipped it over so it wouldn't scratch the top. And I did that, but I was like, man, that, you know, he did it that way. So I'm like, the whole thing just kind of, you know, it's not like geometry where it's X plus Y equals, you know, it's.
That's why I enjoy having you guys here, because I mean, there's so much to learn, and there's so many different ways to do it. That everybody, you know, we're all trying to get to some point, and you know, just because somebody does it one way, or I do it one way, or you do it one way, isn't the way. You know, exactly for that person. And there's so much freedom with these machines to where you can create anything you want, rather than just be just lines or diamonds or whatever it is, you know, whatever the project calls for. And I always just recommend, you know, like people ask me about what they should do in this, or I say just do what the project calls for, you know, make it flow, make it look like what it's going to be. Because when you think about it, a lot of times these panels are going to get welded in, and once they're welded in, it's with the car forever. You know? It's with the vehicle, it's with you know, the race car until you tear it up. But I think you should just put a little bit more time and thought, you know, sometimes in just figuring out what the project needs instead of what you maybe saw on social media or something that you liked, or you know, try to emulate something else. Because if you do that, I think you'll just find your own niche. Facing the need.
And there's so many different niches. You got the hot rod guys, you know. You got the off-road guys. You know, you watching Morgan Clark's new channel. I've been watching his, and the way he does tin work for, you know, those crazy buggies and stuff. It's so cool, you know, like
such a different aspect.
It's just, I mean, I've been in that world, and just watching his, I watched that 2 nights ago, you know. And he's talking about taking a picture of the car and then laying it all out on his template and Photoshop on his tablet. And I was like, I could have saved so much time doing, you know, layouts for customers on those car builds, because, you know, you do a panel one way and somebody's not happy, you gotta rip it off and start over. Where, you know, you can scribble off on your tablet real quick and redraw another shape. So there's some cool people doing some cool stuff out there, and it's neat to see the different niches.
Yeah, and how it applies. I mean, we have a friend of mine that's into cabinet doors now. He's doing a lot of cabinet doors and, you know, things like that for home interior. You know, Kyle Cochran is Rustic Nail. I mean, he does.
I met him at SEMA.
He does some beautiful work in the interiors of homes. Beautiful cars. You know, he the same tools building cars and building the, you know, the things that he needs for the restaurants and the bars and all the things he builds. So, I mean, you know, it's however you want to apply it. That's one of the beauties of this tool, is however you want to apply it, you're going to find your own niche.
Yeah.
So what's next for you? Tell me what's your next project. What's going on next for you so we can get interested.
Oh, shoot. Well, just as far as single projects, I just had sinus surgery last Friday, so I am a week now. I'm a week off of sinus surgery, and I actually just started being able to breathe yesterday on the drive down, which was awesome.
You should have seen the pictures. You sent me pictures. It was great.
But that was a wild experience. But hopefully that's going to allow me to do a lot more cool stuff in the future. That's why I got the surgery, because I was sick of sinus infections and stuff. But So once I get caught up, I've got a few little projects at home. Gonna start my YouTube series on the press brake.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing
I'm
that.
really looking forward to showing the world that, because very few people understand how those, you know, how those work, how to design for them.
I think that really, you know, I think the one thing that a lot of people are probably watching that have a press brake or a brake in any shape, they would really like to know math or an easy way to figure out how to bend and what's the right way to bend it first. Because as soon as, if you own a box and pan brake, you have messed one up. You went the wrong way at the wrong time. Yeah. You know, so just the little things like that and tips, I think would be really helpful for a lot of people.
Yep. And that's the plan, like a how-to on the whole machine. You know, I'll go through setups.
Yeah.
And how the machine works and how you program it, and then you know, get that out of the way, how to set it up, you know, how to bolt it to the floor and level it, and all you know, maybe not the so glamorous side of things, but to get you set up right. So, you know, my goal is, if you order one of those press brakes, you're gonna be able to hop on my channel, watch through, you know, a couple, maybe a dozen, I don't know how many videos I'll do on it, but, you know, maybe we have a few videos, dozen videos, and I want you to go out and wire your press brake and hit that thing and start making money. Like, that's my goal, you know.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful. That's wonderful. Well, how can everybody reach you? Tell me about more on your website, or where
yeah, so I do have a website. It's ddesignllc.com. I don't really use the website much. You'll find most of my stuff on social media. Dooling Design. On Facebook, it's spelled DEULING. It's backwards from how your phone will spell it. It's terrible mistake to make a business that way. But yeah, Deuling Design on Facebook, Deuling on Instagram. It's just ADEULING. And then just Adam Deuling on YouTube. I think I've got an old Adam Deuling YouTube account that I gotta go in and like get rid of or hide or something. It's just like a bunch of old Dune videos from a different account. So
young him.
The one you see with stuff, you know, tools. That's the new one.
Kind of like when you scroll down on someone's page on Facebook or something like that, you see the younger version of them.
Yeah. Oh, it is weird. Those videos will pop up in my feed from my old ones. I mean, I've got some old videos of making. I've got a video making a '57 Chevy door panels. You know, doing the solid rivets and all that stuff. You know, bead roll pleated, and there's a few good old ones on my YouTube. But now I want to make it more of a channel. You know, before it was just Adam kind of uploading a random thing here or there I was doing the shop. Now I'm like, okay, let's make it a consistent channel.
I like it.
Somewhere people can go and learn and pick up tricks, and
I think you'll do real well with that. You know, especially with everything you've done so far with all your design and, you know, and the way you implement everything you've done. And it's a really neat story to hear how you've gone along from shop class and the design work, and then now into your own fab work and your own market, and really developed into that. You know? And that goes back to us talking about the schools and the shop and all that. You know, it's really important for us to have that in our communities, I believe. You know, and I believe a lot in that. So
we're really gonna delve deep into it, you know, just beyond, you know, it's not gonna just be the press brake, it's gonna be the plasma table. You know, I'm gonna show you how to set up that fast cut table and make some mint parts. You know, it thing came out of the box making perfect parts, and now I can just roll with that and combine that with that press brake and SolidWorks and CAD tutorials. And, you know, I want to get guys more comfortable with this, because, you know, people tend to have it, you know, they hop on and they see the Instagram page and they see what I'm doing. You know, some people think I'm like 22 years old, so they're like, "How's this kid doing this?" And I want people to understand. You know, I've got 13 years of CAD time. You know, CAD to me is second nature. When someone calls me for a quote and we need you to build this, I'm building it in my head for like a couple days, and then when it's time to go sit down, you know, I might sit at the computer for half an hour and draw this big crazy thing up that people are like blown away with. It's been in here for a few days already. You know, I want to show people that, you know, I don't like giving a false promise, you know,
sure.
because people, I've had a few guys, like, they quit their jobs because I quit their jobs, or I quit my job, and I'm like,
yeah, it's not so.
we're in a different situation, you know. I'm like, you know, I don't know if you were set up for that, you know. I was kind of like here, and I know I didn't express that, so I wanted to make sure, you know, I can.
That's cool. That's cool.
Give that.
Well, I want to thank you for coming, man.
Yeah, man.
And doing this with us. It's been a
great.
blast. I love hearing about your story and where you come from and what you've been able to do and how hopefully bead rolling has helped you in your life and kind of changed what you've done and really, you know, this community of people that, you know, fabricators and metalworkers and all the companies you're working with now. Yeah. Congratulations on all that. That's
thank you.
You.
It's so much fun.
I love hearing the stories about this. Yep. You know, it's really good. And there's so many guys like you out there that hopefully we can get in here and, you know, have these conversations with so you can share this out. And I really want it to be an inspiring thing for people, and with this right here is super inspiring to a lot of people, you know, when they see a young man like yourself. And
get out to the trade shows, you know.
Yep.
Go to, I mean, the trade shows are cool because the guys, you know, you're there, Tom's there, Ian's there, all these guys are there that, you know, I like to go hang out with, and they're all there, and they all are there because they all have a similar passion. You know, we might not all do the exact same things, but we all understand that passion's there. And man, when you surround yourself with a dozen, you know, but really you're surrounded by thousands of these people,
it's inspiring.
Yeah, like everybody's upbeat, you know, everybody's like excited, like you're making new plans. It's like the future. I don't know. It's a cool place to go and meet people, and you know, and you gotta people. It takes effort to go to these things, you know.
Yeah. And for a lot of us, it's just checking in, you know. Instead of checking in on the year, you know.
Yeah.
You get to, you know, move the ball forward every year. It means a lot to us. But thank you again for coming. And like Jeff always wants me to say, like and subscribe and all the good stuff.
Yeah. We should have bead rolled to subscribe.
We probably will. We'll move down the list. But we got this one about almost ready. I don't know if it's gonna pass the sniff test or not, but we're gonna give it a little bit. I'll probably work on it a little bit more, make it a little bit prettier for you. And we've got the C10 panel we got to give away from the last video, and then you'll be able to get this one too. But I just need to kind of button this one up a little bit before I can ship it out.
Yeah.
And
I might play with this one for a minute while we're sitting here.
Yeah, have a little fun, finish it up, maybe get a book reel. But thank you again. Thank you for watching, and like and subscribe.
Yeah,
and,
thanks guys.
Yeah, man.
That's been great. Yeah.
All right.
Hit the button.
Hit the button. Say hey to the dog. He's so famous, and I'm like, I just because I see his personality, and I'm like, oh, he's so awesome. You got the camera still going? I hope so.
That was good.
When Jeff bends over, the camera's still going.